Hey guys, and here we are with our movie review of Us, the newest Jordan Peele movie, his sophomore effort following Get Out, the breakout hit of 2017?
2017.
2017, yes. So
And what, that while back? It's gone fast.
it was fast.
Yeah.
These things come out really fast
know,
now.
yeah.
It's like how we just had like Avengers: Age of Ultron a couple
I know,
years ago, and
yeah.
now we're waiting for Endgame.
I know. It's
And
like
only
a complete
4
change.
years.
I know.
It's quick.
It is, yeah, it is.
But it's quick. So this was going to be more of a discussion review. We're going to talk about the film first in like a spoiler-free sense, and then we're going to get into spoilers. And
I'll try my best not to spoil it too
yeah,
soon.
let's start with the spoiler
Yeah,
section.
alright.
I really liked it. I might actually like this better than Get Out.
Oh, okay.
I just felt like this, unlike Get Out, this really was more entertaining. Like the world was so interesting, and I don't know, there was something about the premise that was like very like okay, where are you gonna go with this?
I feel like, yes, I do agree in that Us had like a better world and sort of better, it's set up like, I don't want to say better, but it's set up to be like, I don't know, more engaging. But I feel like Get Out, I related to the character in Get Out much more than I did to the family in Us.
Yes,
Daniel,
true.
was it Daniel Kaluuya's
Daniel Kaluuya was
character?
Get Out. Yeah, they did give him more of a character base,
Yeah.
and well, yeah, you could argue there was more character to Get Out. To be fair, yeah, but I don't know. Something about this movie was like so like. I don't know. Something about it was just like hypnotizing to me. There was something about
Yeah,
this like
definitely.
that I kept like watching like what the hell?
Yeah, you
where
just
are we
can't-
gonna go?
You can't take your eyes off it. Like,
Get Out to me, overall, just to mention Get Out since it is a Jordan Peele film.
Yeah.
Get Out, I did really like. I did find it a bit more funny than scary.
Fair
I
enough,
thought it
yeah.
had a really good social commentary. Daniel Kaluuya was alright. He did a good American accent.
yeah, I found I related
just-
to his character more than the family. The family, I never really felt for them. Maybe the mother character, obviously. Because
The
she's,
mother
like,
character
main-
was creepy.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
If there was one thing that Get Out made me scared of, is teacups. Like
Oh, the sound it makes. I know.
And
it's like-
the sound, and you're like, it is creepy.
I can never hear that sound again without being absolutely freaked out.
Yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
by the way, Monkey Paw Productions, Jordan Peele's company, actually has a logo before this, and it's a
Yes,
long
I
take
remember.
on a trade,
Yeah.
and it suddenly turns to like a monster hand,
Yeah.
just the hand, like pummeling the teacup.
I know that's such a great little callback,
That's
isn't it?
that's one hell of a logo.
Yeah,
That's
sounds-
awesome. Yeah, and I liked oh god, what's the actress' name? The actress from Girls who was in Get Out as the girlfriend. She was really good.
Oh,
I
can't
god,
remember.
I forgot her name, but she was in the show
Yeah.
Girls, and she was good in that.
Yeah.
So maybe it did have more character, but Us, for me, just had this like weird world. And you know what I loved about it is it felt like an 80s slasher movie, but like combining the best.
Yeah.
Because often 80s slasher films or a lot of horror films, they often had a very serious or more played straight for original installment, and then they either went into the surreal direction or the more exploitative, like cheesy direction. This was both.
I feel like it did get a good mix of both. Yeah, without being like too tonally sort of all over the place.
Oh yes, sometimes the tone was like slightly off for me, but it mostly kept it. It was more fascinating to
Actually,
me.
yeah. Speaking of tone, you know how you said you thought Get Out was funnier.
Yeah.
I feel like Us had more jokes that didn't land.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was
Yes.
sort of joke
After-
after joke after joke after joke.
Yes, this one, when it tried to be funny, didn't really work for
Yeah.
me. Like
Some of it did.
Some of it
Some
did,
of it
but
maybe
not.
not.
But some of it like really felt like okay, they just sort of put that in
As
there.
a tension breaker.
Sometimes there were like a couple of moments where like okay, that's funny, but
Yeah.
like anytime they tried to tell a joke, it fall flat for me.
Yeah.
This one, I feel like I was. And speaking of like being scared, I didn't think that. I feel like as much as Jordan Peele himself tweeted it out, Us is a
Yeah,
horror,
it's a horror
film.
movie.
I wouldn't really call this horror film because I was never really scared.
No,
I
it
was
wasn't-
I was intense and I wanted to see where it's
Yeah,
going, but
it's-
this wasn't scary.
It was a
as much.
slow burn kind of horror, which I really appreciate
Oh,
and I like it for. Yeah, I mean, it's not like deathly scary. It's
No.
not absolutely terrifying.
more
it's
intense.
more creepy and intense.
creeping.
definitely.
It's more intense. I would say this is more of a thriller, like a
Yeah, definitely.
thriller, not straight up horror.
with some comedy that doesn't really work. So it's a really weird. I suppose that's Jordan Peele in general. He's mixing these genres.
Mixing all
some
these-
bits hit, some bits don't.
some of it really hit. Like, also, what yeah, but if we can, yeah, but like, so basically the premise you've seen the trailer. It's basically they meet this family, who are basically them, but kind of like their doppelgangers.
More animalistic doppelgangers.
That's what kind of see from the trailer.
Yeah.
The way this premise goes, you would think, okay, this is going to be like one of those weird ones. I'm not gonna lie. As much as it went on, I was sort of thinking, is it gonna go this way? Is it gonna go there? And it does.
It does.
I won't reveal in this section what, but it goes to like territory where I was like, it's the type of feeling where a movie goes crazy, but it's the type of crazy where you're like, okay, this is fun.
You kind of come to accept it, don't you?
It's where it's kind of fun. I did it. Yeah, so it goes some directions that you will not see coming, and I liked how the style of it tried to be weird. Like the opening shot of this movie is so weird. I loved it.
Yeah, that's a great shot. That. Oh yeah, no, the whole opening sequence in general.
Oh, that was
really
great.
tense.
That was great, and I liked.
Backstory as well.
Before we get to the technicals, just to guys, like the acting for me was sort of hit and miss.
Really?
I loved Lupita Nyong'o in this. She is
I
the
think
highlight.
She is definitely the highlight.
Something.
100%.
By the way, her doppelganger.
Oh, the voice that she does.
The voice she did.
At first, I was thinking, is this really what she's going with? That's the voice? And then after a while, I was like, okay, this really works.
That one really worked. It reminded me of The Grudge.
Yes.
Like the thing he did with her throat, it was
really
so
raspy.
like unsettling.
Oh,
and
it's chilling, especially in when you're in the cinema and it's amplified. The noise is just like
it
gives you chills.
It was really well done.
Yeah, definitely.
The kids for me were good. The
doppelgangers or the original kids?
The original kids.
The original kids.
They did a good job, but to me, and this is something I didn't like about even Get Out, is that there were moments where the characters were a little too flat. Like they felt a little deadpan for me.
Yeah.
It's like they were not in the moment enough.
I read this. I watched this review online about someone mentioned how there's not really a moment in the film where the family come to actually talk like a real family. Like they sort of get cracking wisecracks and jokes. There isn't a moment where they calm down and they go, right, we're being chased by some absolute psycho murderers here.
Yeah,
what are we going to do?
There isn't as much dramatic tension.
There's like a small moment of it, like after when they're in the house, like watching the TV, but. After there's pretty much nothing after that.
Yeah,
so that's probably why I couldn't relate to them
as much dramatic tension in this as you wanted to.
I couldn't believe that they were a real family dealing with a very serious threat.
To me, like the family dynamic didn't work as much because I just didn't feel like it was that like calling. It's not like another movie I saw last year, which wasn't as good as this, but the family dynamic did work. Was The Strangers Pray at Night, where they actually had a really good brother-sister connection that they paid off during the end, and I was actually rooting for them.
Oh, okay.
With this one, as much as this is a way better movie than that, the way they were, like, the family dynamic never worked for me.
They weren't. I didn't hate them. I didn't dislike them. They just made me feel very indifferent, and I shouldn't feel that way about the main characters, especially a family.
I do agree. That was the same for me.
But,
someone who I was very and the kids were good. They were giving it their all. They clearly wanted to be there.
Yeah.
But again, once they just felt indifferent. Their doppelgangers were really entertaining.
Yeah, they were.
The smaller kid's doppelganger, the one that wears the mask,
the one with the mask,
is really good. I really like that. And there were a lot of moments where it did sort of feel like that was really good. Someone who, I'm not gonna lie, I was really mixed about was Winston Duke.
That's what I mean. I feel like most of the jokes that didn't hit came from his character and his lines and his really weirdly timed lines.
Something about the way he was acting in this, it's like he wanted to be kind of awkward.
Yeah, again, he didn't feel real to me. He didn't feel like a real father.
It's like he wanted to be like, to shed the image of like, it's like he wanted to go away from the Umbaku image that he kind of built himself up.
So he's going like really one extreme to the other, pretty much.
Yeah, but in this one he just comes across as very corny and awkward for me.
Definitely.
Like,
he's one of the weak points of the movie, I think. Which is a shame, really, because he was good in Black Panther.
Oh, he was good, and I feel like he was trying here. Just he didn't work, and as I said, those jokes really didn't work for me.
No, but
of all the other actors, there is that other family that you see in the trailer who are part of it. They were kind of okay, but again, they felt indifferent again. So actor-wise, they're good. However, so Lupita Nyong'o shines, and everyone's doing alright, but the characters are not the highlight. Do you want to know about this? Two things: the cinematography and the score.
Yes. Oh, the score.
The cinematography. This was done by the cinematographer of It Follows.
I know. Yeah, you said that makes it much better in my eyes.
And it's so. And it's
I love that film.
And there are so many good shots in this that I was like, I want to watch this again at some point.
Shots,
to like
the lighting, the sort of like that scene. There's a scene like that throughout the film, but it takes place near the beginning where the main character as a kid goes into that little felt like mirror, a hall of mirrors, and it's like completely washed in blue. And it looks absolutely like so unnerving. Her eyes are like
for me, there were like some takes that kept on going, and the way they did it was so. And what I love about this movie is that it makes something that's actually kind of a small thing very big. It's like when you watch a James Wan film. Technically, it's a house, but it's big. This house is so massive that even like a small place like this, you're just like, God damn it, what they can make out of this.
I know, with the camera alone, it's crazy.
It's I love it how much it does it. The production values, they make a Blum. I feel like it was. I don't think it's a Blumhouse production because I didn't see the logo at the beginning, but it was produced by Jason Blum, and they really made the most of this.
Yeah.
Also the score. This was great.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's so unnerving, and it's like it runs throughout the
there
entire
is
film,
a children choir.
It feels like it's alive.
Oh yeah, there's a children choir in this.
Yeah, it's going like do. I think it's going like do, re, mi, sa, all that throughout.
And I was like, scale. and it was creepy. Like, it felt like, is it just me, or it almost sounded like a Christmas song?
Yeah,
but it almost sounded like a Christmas song, but it was really unnerving.
I love that juxtaposition between sort of really jolly sounding music and a really dark atmosphere, and I love that. It fits so well. There's also a scene near the end. I'll say like during the big, confrontation, because there has to be a big confrontation. The music is just absolutely wonderful.
By the way, you know how in
the
you know how in the trailer there was "I Got 5" on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they play it, but not the one in the trailer. It's just, it's like someone took a big orchestra and took a hip hop song and made it into an orchestra. It's great.
It's great.
That was amazing.
It strangely keeps it rather contemporary without like modern, without seeming like dated. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah.
The music choices are great. We're going to talk about it more in the spoiler section.
Yeah. Overall, great music.
The world of this, I liked the way it was laid out, and I did like how they didn't explain everything. But I'm not gonna lie, during the end, there were some things that I feel like maybe this would require a rewatch, but there are some things that I'm like, I don't think this really works.
I have perhaps my biggest problem with the film, besides the not really caring about the family, probably is the entire sort of last, I don't know how long it is, 3 minutes. There's a twist. Obviously, I won't spoil it yet. There's a twist which, I don't want to say it doesn't work, because it does, but it feels very sort of last minute. Like it felt like the film could have just ended there.
Yeah.
And it just feels like extra baggage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something where I was like, wait, are they not gonna do that? Yeah, they're doing
it, yeah.
And
it's like, at first you're like, huh? And then you think about it, and it's like, okay.
It's not bad, but it's the type of thing that I felt like could have waited a bit more.
Yeah, it didn't, I don't feel it needed it. I felt the film was good enough without it. And so it just felt a bit like too much, it just felt tacky. I don't want to say tacky, but it felt like it was just tacked on as like a sort of afterthought, just for something for the audience to talk about, you know what I mean? As if like the themes of the film alone aren't enough to talk about. We've got to throw in this little twist at the end, so the audience have now got to go, oh, but that means, that scene is completely different in that context, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it's the type of
like,
thing
there's only so much that you can talk about. Do you know what I mean?
And for me, the ending was really entertaining and very enjoyably crazy, but there are some things that I have to like give it a rewatch to make sure it works perfectly. So yeah, overall, I did like this because it's an experience of how well it was made and how well it was told. I like this better than Get Out.
Yeah.
Not the biggest character, but it was a really enjoyable time. I would give this like maybe between 8 to 5 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10 because it was really entertaining.
Yeah.
I would really recommend seeing that. This is a good horror film that uses a lot of those tropes. We're going to talk more about the horror tropes in the spoiler part, but it's nice to see a horror movie that's low budget and kind of uses a lot of conventional tropes, but does it well.
Yeah, my final verdict, at least in spoiler-free edition, is yes, it was very good. I still think I prefer Get Out. I just had more fun with Get Out. There are more problems in this than there were in Get Out that made me go, okay, that's sort of taken me out of the experience. But overall, yes, no, it's a very fun flick, very enjoyable. Absolutely. It's good if you want to talk about it or if you just want to see something to get scared about. It's quite, strangely enough, it's quite a wide viewing audience. It's quite a broad viewing audience.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to talk about our audience was amazing. We're going to talk.
Yeah.
But But yeah,
overall,
it's a very nice.
I'd give it probably a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, good.
Oh, what's that?
So, sorry,
That's
battery problems.
Oh, that's all right.
But okay.
Okay, that's the end of the spoiler-free bit.
Now we get to the spoiler
So if you don't want to get spoiled, turn this video off.
Okay.
Cool. Right.
So, what we discover of these doppelgangers is that, according to America, made clones of other people
It's quite far
that
out.
live underground in places where we don't know.
Like some sort of underground tunnels.
Tunnel
like, just hidden
system.
away from the public eye.
And they basically are looking to get up and try to, and what's weird, and it ties into the twist a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
But there was this thing in the 80s called Hold Hands or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I
Where
googled that after
where,
the film.
where
yeah.
where it was like
think
it,
84.
in the beginning, the old it was like hold hands together for issues around America.
Some
I don't
sort of
exactly know.
cause, some sort of I don't know, charity
really,
or something.
really catch what it
No,
was.
neither did I.
But and as it turns out, because the big twist is Lupita Nyong'o's character is actually the doppelganger. Who, as a kid, because she met her doppelganger, the doppelganger
knocked her out,
took her down to the world, and the doppelganger went in.
So they switched round.
And so doppelganger lives there.
Yeah.
And because of that, because the original Lupita Nyong'o's character saw that Hold Hands for America thing, she basically builds her entire life around getting the other doppelgangers to get out, kill their other versions, and then hold hands.
Yeah.
And because in the commercial there's red coloring used, they all wear red. That's where the red comes from.
Yeah.
And that is enjoyably crazy.
There's a lot of,
I don't know
how
how Jordan Peele came up with this, but I was very interested in it, and it's a type of one where I really do want to think about it a little bit. Maybe that's why I like this a bit more than Get Out, because Get Out, after a while, I just, as much as it did a really good job at portraying its themes, and you do discover a lot more, this one felt like something that would make my brain tease a bit, so I liked it a bit better in that.
It's clever in that, if you watch the film, I've only seen Us once, obviously, but, thinking about it again.
Oh, yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o's character, her doppelganger, who actually turns out to be the original one, she's the only one that speaks.
Yeah,
can actually speak and talk. Even though she's got a creepy voice, she can talk. All the other doppelgangers make really
animalistic noises.
That's like a giveaway, and you wouldn't notice that on first viewing.
You wouldn't.
And then you're like, oh, it makes sense, because they can't speak, but she can. How'd she learn that? Because she's the original one. That was quite clever. I enjoyed that. That was a nice little play around.
That was a good wing, and I did like how it does sort of tie in together. It's just when you first see it, it feels like a last time added on thing.
That's how I feel.
And I get it where it was coming, but at the same time, it's like it's something that could have easily been explained in a different way. And
I feel like if they'd introduced it about 10 minutes earlier, it wouldn't have felt so sort of tacky and put on the end.
Yeah.
10 minutes earlier, they revealed that there was a switch around.
Yeah.
It would have given the audience more time to process it, so therefore we'd come to accept it more, I feel. Whereas, because it's literally right at the final few minutes of the film when you find out, and then it just cuts to the credits. It just feels a bit sort of cheap and sort of like a last-minute move, which doesn't really feel like it's earned or like it's genuine. That's how I felt about it.
It didn't really work for me. Well, it was half and half.
Yeah, very half and half. It's not a bad twist by any means. It could have been executed better, I feel.
Yeah, and basically these doppelgangers want to get out in and hold hands throughout the whole of America, coast to coast, and it's kind of glorious, and it's very interesting. And as it turns out, because as the movie went on, I was sort of thinking wait, could it be that there are other people out there? Because there's another family in this that you saw in the trailer. And there's a scene where I was just waiting for him. Wouldn't it be kind of funny and even creepy if they had their own? And they do.
They can,
immediately, boom.
And dead. They all just get killed.
Oh,
it's quite graphic at some points as well.
It's an R rating, by the way.
Yes,
so this is, and it's kind of cool because it's nice to see an R-rated movie that gets acclaim and commercial success.
Yeah.
And I hope it's gonna, with Pet Sematary coming out soon with being R-rated, I really hope they're gonna do more R-rated stuff.
Who's directing Pet Sematary, by the way?
Directing duo. One of them is called Kevin Koch, and they directed a movie called Starry-Eyed, and they also made some shorts for the film Holidays.
Oh, okay, right.
But I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
And this one, I can really praise Jordan Peele for that. Also, elephant in the room, but representation. The main cast, it's really good. It's nice to see something like this where it's also you can both interpret it as simple but also complex.
Yeah.
I did like that, and I can see that Jordan Peele could build up some representation through his production company. Yeah. I could totally see him do more movies like this.
It's getting talented people much needed exposure, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Which is a good thing. Yeah.
Like I just saw the documentary on Shudder called Horror Noir, which explored African Americans in horror, but it did a really good, and it really exposed me to a lot of things, like even things I might have known. I was like, oh, that's a new context, and I could see him do stuff like that. He's working on the Candyman remake.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, yeah, and so I can see this coming. So a big plus for that, and these actors are good.
Talking about the themes that are actually in Us compared to the themes that are presented in Get Out,
it's less accessible than Get Out.
Yes, definitely.
It does take.
It's more broad, I feel,
way more
and I feel
broad.
like that's probably, for me, that's probably one of its weaknesses because it feels like it's got less focus.
To be fair, yeah, because even then,
it feels like they could have done anything and said, oh, it's that that's attached to this. Whereas Get Out was firmly on the relationship between white and black people.
Yeah.
So whereas this is a lot more broad.
This one, yeah, and it's an interesting concept, and it really does it well. And I do like a movie that makes me want to rewatch it again and think about it while still entertaining me.
Yeah.
Actually, we mentioned the music torches. There's a use of NWA's "F the Police."
Oh, it's so funny.
That was pretty cool. The way they
set
set that up is like it's really nice.
Actually, that's probably unless that song. Yeah, I don't know how old that song is, but that's probably like one bit that probably won't age well. Like it might seem a bit dated because if that song becomes suddenly everyone forgets about it, and then you watch this film 20 years in the future, and that song comes up, you're going to be like, yeah, it's funny, but it's not relevant, because that song's kind of relevant now because it's made kind of a comeback.
Yeah,
and people do listen to that,
and
that song.
Yeah, and as we talked about, I Got 5 on it. That's also in it, and well, not that, as I mentioned, it's the orchestra version of it, and it's really done well. And I do like how they basically like you will never think of that song the same way again.
You just have shivers up your spine every time.
It's like when I watched Strangers Prayer at Night, and there was Total Eclipse of the Heart in a scene where a guy fights someone in a pool, and it's
that's what you will never now, isn't it?
You will never think about that song the same way again. And I did like that. Because as we turn out later, it's a world like everyone in America is being attacked, and it's like crazy. It has a bit of an apocalyptic like feel to it.
There's more, it's got a bigger scope than Get Out as well. Yeah, it's not as personal, which. Except it's kind of ironic how it's not as personal when everyone's got their own doppelganger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like a wider scope. Whereas,
it will make you think, what would your doppelganger look like?
And what would they sound like? What would their name be?
And it's called The Tethered.
The Tethered, that's right.
And by the way, the reason why if you want to know why the scissors are in it that you see in like all the posters, it's a really clever way. I did kind of like that.
It's a fun, unique little like sort of slasher weapon. I think you don't see many scissors really used.
No,
it's sort of like machetes, whereas these, or like sort of axes. Whereas this is a bit more refreshing. They're more like shears, aren't they? They're sort of like garden shears or like really big scissors.
Yeah, and to think about the big sequences, they're good. The house where the other family gets killed is a really tense sequence. I do like that a lot.
The cinematography in that, like it sort of it reveals stuff.
Yeah,
that makes you really startles you, and it's like, oh, that's good. That was done, executed really well.
And it's really well made. It's speaking of which, I said in this review that Nice uses horror conventions mostly well. There's a couple of like for the sake of it horror cliches, like there's a scene near a car where the family's girl is next to it, and because she was on her way running, instead of not running away, she looks down the car.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And I'm like,
run!
You were running! Keep on running! And there's also another scene where like they kind of pointed out a little bit at the beginning that the reason why they can get into the house is because either someone put a key underneath a rock, and not in the house, outside the house, and that's how they get in. They literally say, they do kind of point that out. That's kind of weird, but what's interesting is that any other. As for the kids, there's really good. I like the doppelganger kids in this. The boy is more like a dog in this.
Yeah,
the little
definitely.
boy.
He's sort of growling. He's crawling around like a rabid, like a rabid dog, like you're saying.
There's a really good fight with Winston Duke on the boat they have.
Yeah, there was a section how how Winston Duke's character kills his doppelganger.
Yeah.
How? I couldn't make it out. The scene was a bit dark for me. What does he do? He sort of jerks his head forward. I couldn't tell what happened. But
I feel like
kills the doppelganger.
They're on a boat and the boat engine would not start, and then because he falls in the boat for some reason, and then his I think he uses the engine to cut him in half or something like that.
I think he probably leans forward, and because their actions sort of mirror each other, his doppelganger leans forward, and he probably gets his face hit by the fan, or by the but I couldn't the propeller, but I couldn't make it out when I first watched it, so I don't know if that was just me or if that was someone else. But it was, I mean, that's weird because overall, the cinematography and the lighting in this film was really good.
Oh,
so
I love it.
That was just one anomaly there.
It's so good to see the Man from Eight Follows doing like this again. It's so good to see.
Yeah, that film too was it was such a good looking film, but in a different way.
Absolutely. Like Mike Cholo, I don't know his name, but he does a really good job. I love his work on even Split or I think he did Glass. I don't know, but it's so good to see him do stuff like this. And as I said, the score is great.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, a couple of horror cliches here and there, but it's never too distracting.
Yeah, you gotta have something for everyone, I suppose.
You said something in like a review once that how would you say the current state of horror has altered in the past couple of years? Do you think we're making it's related to this?
Actually, I do think we are getting better. I feel
we have I'm gonna write an essay soon on a film I'm watching called Sorority Row, and I'm gonna talk about like a lot of the trends in 2000s horror, how there was the rise of the gore films, the remake craze, especially the J horror remakes. And unfortunately, a lot of studio horrors really went for more profit sakes, and we had all sorts of like very studio friend. Like I feel like the low point was 2014 when they released Ouija. Like that was I literally remember every movie review I watched. Like this is horrible. This is the bottom of the barrel.
I know.
And ever since, and even though before that, I would say ever since James Wan really started like. When he released Insidious, ever since then, and it really we are slowly changing.
Steady rise in
and
quality.
With this is another representation of slashers being done well, horror films in general, an African American cast, and also the fact that it's an R-rated film, and I would love to see some R-rated studio horror films come back. With it being a massive hit, it made over like 600.
It's got a sequel coming out soon.
This year.
This year, isn't it? Yeah.
And as much as I'm not against PG-13 horror, because it can be used really well, especially in James Wan's films, I really hope that with this one we get more R-rated horror films.
Definitely, yeah. There's just more boundary for like creative expression. It's more sort of you can do more, can't you, with an R rating? You can get away with more.
And I like how they actually try to make the characters, as much as here it didn't really work, a bit more likable. Because that was a big problem in a lot of the slasher and horror films in like the 2000s.
In general.
Where everyone was just
like, why they made stupid decisions.
It's not just stupid decisions; they were also just not nice people.
Yeah, exactly. You wanted to see them die, if anything.
It's like, and that's why I kind of liked parts of The Strangers Prey at Night, where actually. It started them off as kind of bickering, but as they went on, they actually did sort of develop it well. But in that, they just kind of used it as like a weird, and it just didn't work. But with this one, I could see him like come up with this.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely didn't want to see these characters die.
I
didn't like them per se, but I didn't dislike them, and I cared, cared enough not to see them die.
By the way, it has a very sequel bait ending. Well, kinda.
For us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like as much as it would be kind of nice to see this world, what happens after it, I'm not gonna lie. As a sequel to this, unless it's Jordan Peele, I would not say do another one.
There's a bunch of theories saying that this, Us, and Get Out take place within the same universe.
I could imagine that.
Yeah. I feel like that's a Jordan Peele sort of thing now. I know he's only come up with a couple of films now.
Two,
yeah.
and
But
produced Black Klansman.
I feel like his thing is sort of really long sort of setup, creepy setup.
Oh yeah,
And then some big sort of scientific thing that explains what's going on.
Yeah.
But except it doesn't. It's sort of like, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't think about it. It just is. You know, how did the Americans clone? How did the Americans clone it? They just do. Don't ask questions.
yes.
How in Get Out? How are you able to extract the brain from a black person into a white? Don't ask questions. It just does.
To me,
I feel
where
like that's
Get
Jordan
Out,
thing. I feel like
to
that's
me, where
Jordan
Get
Peele's
Out
thing.
was a little messy was how did they separate the soul from the
Yeah.
brain or stuff like that,
It's
which
just like-
which makes sense. Don't get me wrong, but like soul separated from the brain and take out the brain, I get
Yeah.
that, but like if
I feel like he's the sort of director where you go, don't ask questions.
Where it's
just
like-
what you're seeing.
where he tried to
is
like
what you
mix
get.
like science into it, but then you kind of like, wait, how did that? Like,
Yeah.
it's a little messy. In
You're
that
going to
part.
enjoy. I feel like for these films and all his future films, you're going to enjoy them more if you don't look into certain bits
too
much.
deeply. There's
Some bits
definitely
you
a bit of
can.
fantasy. There's a lot of things
Themes
to
that are
analyze,
prevented,
but
you can look in.
there are
But
some
in terms
things where I
of
was
the
like,
actual literal scientific reasoning behind everything, you're probably not going to be very satisfied. Like I was. I was a bit. I don't know. I found that a
yeah,
bit
it does leave some questions unanswered.
But it's still two very good films so far. And still, you know, for
And
a
I'm
first-time
looking-
director,
Oh.
this is pretty good.
Oh, and I can't wait. And I don't know if he's producing or directing the Candyman remake, but I would love to see
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm really seeing if he gives birth to new, well, people will call her whole filmmakers on the way. Because sure, there's Karin Kusama, well, officially mixed, but there's Karin Kusama and like some other directors. But it's nice to, and of course James Wan. But it's nice to see this.
I
And
wonder if he's going to branch out into any other genres. Jordan Peele.
I could see him like do like a I could see him do like a family
comedy. I mean, that always, his comedy is his
I
roots,
could
suppose.
see him do
Key and
something
Peele,
like that.
but,
Speaking of which, is it just me or were some of these jokes something that Keegan Michael Key would say?
That's what I was thinking.
Like,
Maybe that's
like
where it's
as
coming
like
from.
when like Winston Duke was out there, he's like, "Hey, if you want to get crazy, we can get crazy."
Yeah, that's
I
totally-
feel like if this was
that
delivered
is
by
such a
Keegan Michael Key,
yeah,
if
such
that
a
was
mannerism.
Keegan Michael Key, that would have been funny.
Yeah, definitely. Probably, poor delivery.
I kind of wish he works with him again, but we'll see.
We shall see in the future. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really something worth it, and I'm really happy for it to exist and really come on.
So
the
am
way.
I. Yeah, no, it's a very good. It's
And
a good film that presents
and
some.
with it only being with April on the way, it's nice to see how horror this year. Well, it was
to a good
actually
start.
we had Escape Room at the beginning, which was okay for a January horror film. At least. Glass was a very frustrating mixed bag for me,
Yeah.
but at least I appreciated how it actually tried to be. It wasn't trying to be throwaway. It did try to say something, and it did keep me thinking.
Yeah,
I found it very frustrating, but I haven't seen The Prodigy, and this one really made me happy, and I'm really curious to see Us. I'm really curious to see Pet Sematary soon.
I still think we've got a long way to go before we can say that horror films have made a proper good comeback as a genre. But we're on the way.
Sure, yeah.
We're definitely on the way. If Jordan Peele keeps producing, these, really good horror
If there's
films.
horror
along with other
filmmakers,
people.
I'd recommend for you to check out James Wan's work. You can look at Saw and Dead Silence as well. They're not, as I hear, not bad, but like definitely check out Insidious and Conjuring. Definitely look around anthology horror films.
Yeah.
They might be mixed bags, but there's always a director to find there that's entertaining.
Exactly. There's a bit of gold within, the sort of the diamond in the rough sort
Yeah,
of look.
and
Sort of,
definitely check out anthologies. I'm very curious to see how Adam Wingard is gonna do with Godzilla vs Kong.
Yeah,
he's like
well,
he's like a mumblecore director, mumblecore director, and
I mean, Godzilla films of recent have been kind of hit and miss, haven't they? So
and I liked how definitely David F. Sandberg who's doing Shazam now.
Oh,
he
right,
did
yeah.
Annabelle Creation, which was really entertaining.
Yeah.
And of course, so it's gonna take a while until we're going to leave sort of that era of the 2000s, early 2010s behind. But I'm very happy we're going.
we're
this way.
definitely taking a right step in the right direction.
This year we're gonna get some other things. Aside from Pet Sematary, we're going to get a Chucky remake.
Yes, we are.
That
actually.
one, I'm
Yeah.
honestly kind of curious.
I
I
am
haven't.
too.
I need to watch the Chucky films, but I'm curious to see where they go.
Which one did I see? I think I actually watched the most recent one. I think I watched
Cult of Chucky.
Yeah, I think I watched that one first. I haven't seen any other.
Although
ones
it's
yet.
kind of weird how there's a TV show. Why are you releasing it the same weekend as Toy Story 4?
I know. Yeah, you're not gonna.
You're gonna ruin some childhoods that
Yes.
day. But and there's also it's chapter 2 coming out.
Yep.
I'm kind of curious about Annabelle chapter 3. There's a third one on the way. There's Curse of Yarona.
Which one's that?
which is a horror film. It's produced by James Wan. It's basically about this like woman from the lake that's coming to get his children.
Okay.
It looks creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know much of what's on the way, but honestly, I'm kind of happy that we're kind of leaving that like hyper gory, but at the same time, when it was both like these
Cliched, sort of cheap.
hyper gory, but at the same time, we also had those PG-13 ones that really like midgetated them. I'm kind of happy we're leaving that.
We're getting a good mix now. We're definitely going
that's good.
step in the right direction.
We are going there.
Yeah.
So yeah. So overall, we're going to really recommend you to give it a watch.
Yes.
Oh, just a quick one about the audience. You talked about how the broadness of how it appeals to a lot.
Yeah.
This audience, I was surprised how many people were there.
I know it was.
I know it was.
all
I
sorts.
know it was opening day, but I was
Yeah.
like, God damn it! How many people were here?
It was late opening day, to be fair. It was later in the day. You
was-
expect the earliest, you get like midnight screenings. You expect lots of people to turn up for those.
7 p.m. and it was.
But it was absolutely packed. It wasn't it?
And is it just me or was there a range of ages? Is it
I think
just-
there was actually. There was
like-
old people, young people.
Like, did I see? I think I saw. Was it? Did I see like younger than
I think
us? as
I think
well?
so. Yeah. So I think that's good when you can say that horror films are now bringing in families. Like family audiences. You never would have thought that a few years back, would you?
I'm afraid how many unsuspecting parents are gonna take
God, yeah.
take their kids to like
The-
child's play and stuff.
They're gonna be really messed up kids, like when they grow up.
It's kind of like how you hear how many kids watched Jaws as they were kids, even though that movie's not meant for children. And
Speaking of Jaws, I actually watched The Meg recently. Did you
Oh,
see The Meg?
yes.
Yeah, we watched it on our module.
It's
It was
alright.
dumb and it was
It's-
stupid,
it's-
but I had loads of fun watching
me
it.
too. I like that. Even with like dumb and fun.
Yeah.
Even with that, like you can still do dumb horror fun. I like The Meg. I thought it was like cheesy,
I have a soft spot for it, yeah.
Yeah, cheesy, stupid, but I liked it.
And Jason
it-
Statham, I mean, he's always
He's
fun to watch.
awesome,
Yeah.
and I liked it how it actually cared to entertain you,
Yeah,
even though
it
it was.
does. It
dumb.
knew what it was, and so it didn't try and act like so pretentious.
And ironically, kind of did like the international cast better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, and I hope that the Asylum stops getting like meme credits because like, I swear to God, like, with like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of the Sharknado movies. Like, those are like exploitative horror films that
The
just,
novelty's worn off by now. Maybe the first
After
one.
6
I know.
movies.
Now it's like.
I would
okay,
rather watch The Meg because at least
Yeah.
The Meg is like has a budget.
Sharks in a tornado. It's only so funny for so long, and then the novelty wears off.
Speaking of sharks, there's a film coming out this year called 47 Meters Down. 47 Meters Down, the next chapter.
Oh, okay.
It was also a shark movie. It's the first one is on Netflix right now. 47 Meters Down. It's a reasonably entertaining movie that it kind of felt like. And even with that, I love it how horror is now coming back to a seriousness.
Yeah.
Not darkly serious. To me, there's a difference between depressing and dark and serious and played straight.
Sort of, yeah, it's like you can
And
take it serious.
47 Meters Down, and even The Shallows.
Yeah,
I was
suppose.
happy that they're taking, and even with this, I'm happy that they're taking a route where they're not winking at the camera.
Yeah, they're just going,
because
"Ah, look at
because
that." Yeah,
sometimes
yeah, yeah.
horror parodies are fine. Like Scream, like even Scream. Yes, it's very meta, but they're playing it straight. They're still telling. They still have characters.
There's a
in it.
story to tell, and it's not just a bunch of jokes.
Even in even in Scream 3, it's still the characters
Yeah.
like telling references that if you know it, good. If you didn't, it's also kind of cool, and it's still done well. And I'm happy that we're kind of going back to the era where it's played straight.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious to see it. And just a question: if there was any like horror thing that you would love to see like come back, I'm almost done with the battery, but if there's anything that you would like to kind of see make a comeback, like a series or something like that.
I tell you what, they're absolutely dumb, stupid, but I have a hell of a fun time watching them. Are the Final Destination films?
Oh yeah.
I think the setups to like the deaths are like so like clever and like sort
the
of.
setup. I'd
love to see them make a comeback. I won't lie.
I kind of like to see like,
I mean, yeah.
It's
It's not been long since the last one. Well, actually, no, it's been
2011.
a while. Oh god, it has been a while then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah, if
I'd
it
like to
was-
see them make a comeback.
and with
Or
like
is that type of
and with Jordan Peele doing the Candyman remake, if there was sometimes because of the remake craze that was in the 2000s, there is this sort of like disappointment of them because a lot of these like classic 80s things were like remade.
And they never live up to the hype, the expectation.
They did
of
that
the first.
Scream TV show on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Which was like a kinda a sequel,
Yeah.
I think, because they did a Scream TV show. They have a Exorcist TV show.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of happy we're getting that. Actually, what I would like to see is if we had either two things. One, I would love to see like the anthology films get more, because there's I have to see the VHS films
Yeah.
and like all of this stuff. And I'm honestly kind of a bit of a defender of found footage movies because I think they
Yeah?
can be done well. They can be done terribly.
When was the last real big found footage movie?
I mean, aside from the bomb that was Blair Witch.
I mean, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while. I mean, the Paranormal Activity movies burned out in 2015,
Do you
which
remember
is a shame.
Chronicle with Dane DeHaan?
Oh,
but it wasn't really horror, was it?
It was more
sort of-
sci-fi.
I'd like to see more, maybe to dabble in a different genre with found
Project
footage.
Almanac
Not just
kind of
horror.
tried to do that, but it wasn't really all that great with it.
Yeah.
I have to, and that's why it's like. Also, let's hope with the franchising they keep it down.
Yeah, no,
because
don't
it's
milk it.
because
Milking
because
is the worst thing.
because like the Paranormal Activity really went downhill. The first two are great.
Yeah.
But then there's the third one that just kind of like is okay, and then the 4, 5, 6, because of how quickly they were made, they
know,
could
it's
never.
just-
And I really hope with this movie, because they do set up a sequel at the end with Us, I really hope they don't go that direction. Even the Insidious films, as much as I liked all of them, I just kind of felt like after the third one, it was really
Yeah,
unnecessary.
I feel like even with Paranormal Activity, at the time it was released, it wasn't negatively received, but it wasn't groundbreaking. Whereas I feel like Get Out and Us so far, I think they've really smashed boundaries.
They definitely
So
did.
I think we've definitely got it's optimistic looking to the future, definitely. I feel. Whereas with Paranormal Activity, it always felt like sort of maybe they were going to milk it, maybe they were going to overplay the cliches. of it.
As much as I
Whereas,
do love the first two, I also do really like the first two.
Yeah,
It's still-
I've only seen the first. I think I've only seen the first two actually. I've not seen any more after that.
Overall, really would recommend Us. Give it a watch if you want. The audience raving it had a good time.
Yeah, we
with it,
all
but,
had a
like,
good time. It was a good film to watch.
So, yeah.
It's just
We might be coming back with some other reviews on that.
Yeah,
We might do
sure.
a review of Pet Sematary
Yeah,
if it
could do
comes
that,
out,
yeah.
or something that's coming up soon. But until then,
Stay tuned.
see ya.
Do check out my website if you can. My review
I'll,
website.
I'll,
Put a
I'll,
link in the
I'll link
description.
his to his blog. It's like
I type out reviews of all sorts of stuff. So
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.